Coffee? Check. Rockstar? Check. Whew. What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Penthouse Finance, and I'll be your host, like I am in every single video. In this video, we're talking all about living on your own, the pros, the cons, and this video is for our younger crowd, for anyone who's a little bit older, they live on their own. Watch this video because it's going to be really funny. It might bring back some memories about when you were moving out and all the fun that you guys had, and I'll tell a really interesting story. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit it hard, but one thing that's more important than smashing the like button is actually hitting that subscribe button for Penthouse Finance, just as you can get our videos in the future, the bell for notifications, and let's jump straight into this video about living on your own. So living on your own, moving out of your parents' house or wherever you're currently staying with friends, family, or relatives, making that move towards independence. It's something that, when you're in high school, when you're in college, you think about, some of us dream about, some of us have those goals of getting our first place, buying our first home. Those are fantastic goals, and that's your next step towards independence, financial freedom, and all that great stuff that comes along with, getting out of school, getting a real job, and life. So guys, we're gonna tell you a story in 2 minutes or less about my personal experience when I finally moved out of my parents' house. And can anyone guess how old I was? I was 23 years old. Yes, I was 23 years old when I moved out of my parents' house. Why? Because I was so cheap and I couldn't justify spending any money on rent. Now the funny thing about my story is I started investing in real estate when I was 20. I actually owned numerous properties before I moved out of my parents' house, and I was still living in my parents' basement when I had a bunch of rental properties. It just seemed like, the thing to do. Although, going out to the bar with your friends, pre-drinking, having lots of fun. At the end of the night, when you guys are coming back, I thank my parents for having patience. Anyways, we're not even gonna go there, Doc. Me and Doc have tons of stories that we can tell you about when it comes to that. But anyways, let's talk about my first place. So when I got my first place, I actually rented a sublet. So the sublet was about $400 a month. It was a room in a 4-bedroom condo. It was definitely a student living. It was pretty much kind of like a frat house. We had tons of fun, but that was my first experience with living on my own. And the only reason why I moved out was so that I could be closer to my favorite bar downtown. Priorities, right? But realistically, moving out is a big step for anybody. And it's also, a big step for your parents. They've had you, they've raised you, they've taken care of you, and now they're essentially setting you free. So what are the benefits of moving out on your own? So benefit number one, you're gonna become more independent. You're gonna learn to take care of yourself. You're gonna start to, eventually mature and become an adult. That's definitely something important. Number two is you're gonna have time to yourself, time to think about business, and you're not gonna be as influenced by your parents. That's one thing that I liked, but I also didn't like. The thing is, we idolize our parents, your mom, your dad, you put them on a pedestal. Your parents could actually be holding you back when it comes to setting goals or, actually being what you want to be. If your father works in a factory or if your father's a doctor, he may want you to follow within his footsteps. And of course, he has an opinion as to, what your next career should be. Some parents are more supportive. They let their kids do whatever they want. Other parents, they guide their kids. They want them to do this, and they're very strict on them, especially when they're not following, where they want their kids to go. So I believe that the perfect parent should guide their kid, make sure they're not going down the wrong path, but also let them discover exactly what they want to do in life. And I really thank my parents for that. They stuck with me when I had lots of fun, and I was doing lots of crazy things, and I was selling real estate, and then I moved to China, and then I came back, and they supported me the entire step of the way. And here we are shooting these videos, and I hope you guys are happy. So anyways, guys, that's the second benefit to living on your own. The third benefit is just freedom and fun. When you're living on your own, when you have your own place, your own space, you can have your friends over. You don't have to worry about your parents always, complaining that it's too loud, it's too noisy, it's the wrong time of the day, I gotta sleep for work. All right guys, now let's talk a little bit about the budget, because this is also an opportunity to start to learn how to set a budget. You know, if you're living with your parents and they haven't started charging you rent yet, things are essentially free. Your rent's free, your groceries are free, a lot of other costs associated with living are free just because your parents are supporting you. You know, maybe you're not working full-time just yet, you're in school, but eventually when you make that push towards independence, you get that full-time job. You gotta learn how to set a budget and also save money. Nobody wants to live paycheck to paycheck, so I highly advise you guys to live below your means and actually save money every month. Therefore, you can actually get ahead in the game as opposed to, you know, just sustaining. If you watch our other videos, you watch that video about Johnny. Johnny loves to just party. He has fun, he has a normal job, but everything's rented and he's actually not saving any money. So don't be a Johnny. So guys, coming back to the budget, what are the most important things that we want to take into consideration when living on our own and setting a budget? Well, the first thing obviously is going to be your accommodations. Are you renting? Are you buying? Are you renting with someone else? That's the most important thing. So when it comes to your income, I would say maybe 25 to 35% of your income spent on rent. That might be a little moderate and conservative, especially in some rental markets when rents are so high. But personally, I feel like people spend too much money on rent and they could be spending it on other things, fun, or even potentially saving it. But that all comes back to, you know, sacrificing those things, like instead of living on your own, live with someone. Find a really good friend, share the costs. If you find someone who you really enjoy living with, not only could it be more fun, but you guys will actually share the cost of the apartment, of the house, and you both can work together to save tons of money. So the first thing is rent. The second thing is your car. Do you need a car? How much do you want to spend on your car? I would say try to keep your expenses in terms of your car, maybe 15-20%. Therefore, you can spend 35% on rent and 15% on a car. Half of your take-home income spent on accommodations, and the rest is for food, fun, cell phone bill, all those other things that come along with it, and hopefully you guys can save maybe 20%. In my opinion, that's a basic budget, so hopefully, you know, living on your own, moving out, will give you the opportunity to start to learn how to set a basic budget. Now we're getting into the downsides of living on your own, and there's not many downsides, to be honest, other than the fact that you gotta start to pay for things. You know, your parents aren't gonna pay for things anymore. They're not gonna pay for your rent. They're not gonna pay for food anymore. So you're gonna have to pay for your food, your rent, your car, all these other things. All these expenses are gonna hit you, but that all comes along with, you know, living, getting older, getting a full-time job, and building your independence and your financial freedom. All right guys, that brings us to our next topic, and that is a condo versus a house. And this all comes down to personal preference, also whether you're living with someone or you're not living with someone. If you're gonna be living in a condo, I advise a 2-bedroom condo, fairly decent sized condo. You know, that's the hard part about the harsh reality of today, is the fact that condos are getting more expensive, especially in the bigger markets. They're getting smaller and people are sharing smaller living spaces. Now, if you're gonna share a small living space with someone, I highly advise you to screen the person if you don't know them. And if they're a good friend, you know, really think, you know, can I live with this person? Is it gonna work? That's very important, because if your living conditions are not that great and they start to deteriorate, you both can get frustrated and it's just gonna be a terrible environment. You're not gonna be able to relax at home, and nobody wants that. So really do your research and due diligence, check in on the tenant, your roommate, and see if you guys are compatible. Really think it through. So that comes back to the question of a condo versus a house. What can I sacrifice? What do I really want? So it really comes down to your personal preference. Are you a condo person? Are you a house person? Do you value, you know, convenience over space? You're probably gonna get more space for the same money in a house versus a condo, but you're also gonna get convenience, and you're not gonna have to take care of the grass. You're not gonna have to shovel the snow. There's all those benefits that come along with a condo as well. So guys, really think it through when it comes to condo versus house. And the other thing about a house is, if it's a big enough house, you can actually maybe rent out another room. So are you comfortable with living, you know, with between 1 to 2 people, 3 people in a house? I'm not too sure. I've done it before where I've lived in a condo with a couple doors, like I said, my first place, and it was actually pretty fun, but you gotta see what you value and those people that you live with. That's what it all comes down to. Alrighty. Now guys, it's time to go outside, guys, because it's getting way too hot here, and I don't even know if this is gonna be stable, but we're gonna bring you guys outside right now. We only have a few minutes left on this video. Whew. It is hot as hell. Alright guys, so getting back to that condo versus house talk. Personally, I'm a condo guy, and I wouldn't have been able to start Penthouse Finance if I didn't buy a condo. So, it really comes down to what you're looking for. Man, it's actually such a nice day out. It's never been this nice for a while. Holy smokes. So guys, my last piece of advice is don't move out unless you feel like you're ready and you feel like you've saved enough. I think people feel way too much pressure to move out on their own just because they want to have fun, they see all their friends moving out, but move out when the time is right for you and it financially makes sense when you have that full-time job and when you have enough money saved up to, let's say, sustain yourself for the next 3 to 6 months. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to drop us any comments. Let us know, are you thinking of moving out? What kind of house are you looking at? And don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, bell for notifications. We're out of here, guys. That's it for this video. Penthouse Finance. I don't know.